Hey y'all, Canden here with Free Tours by Foot DC, and I want to go over and do a quick video of free things there are to do in Washington DC. Now I had a look at our blog post, which is linked in the description below, and there are over 100 free things to do in DC. There's probably more than that. It might be easier to make a video on things that are not free in DC, because most of the things here have no admission cost. Now there's one quick caveat. There will be some museums that I list, some attractions that have reservations or booking fees, $3 and under usually, and that's if you want to guarantee a spot and get a ticket in advance, which is definitely recommended, especially at this time of year when so many things are requiring time tickets to enter. If you want to walk up and try to get a ticket with no reservation fee or no processing fee for doing it online, you can, you just might not be guaranteed a place. So free things to do in Washington, DC. Number one, of course, is our walking tours. Our most popular tours are all free, or what we like to say is name your own price. So you join the tour. If you didn't have a good experience, there is no expectation, there is no requirement to pay. We hope that you'll enjoy the tour because as full-time tour guides, this is what we do. But you can make those tours or you can make those reservations for our National Mall, Capitol Hill, Arlington Cemetery, Georgetown Glow, our most popular tours here in DC. So probably the thing that people think about the most when it comes to free in DC is our museums, because it's kind of unique to this city. There are so many museums in Washington, DC, and many of them require no admission cost. Prominent amongst them is the Smithsonian Institute. So there's actually 20 Smithsonians and the National Zoo. So that's Air and Space, Natural History, American Indian, National Museum of African American History and Culture, Anacostia Community Museum, a number of art museums. There is no admission to visit those. Now right now they are requiring timed tickets, and make sure you get those far in advance because they go fast. Other museums that have no admission cost are the Holocaust Museum. Their time tickets required right now. You can get them online in advance or same day at 11 a.m. There is a processing fee for those. Another site that has no admission cost but does have a processing fee is Ford's Theater, but that $3 is definitely worth it. You get a walkthrough of the theater where President Lincoln was assassinated and the museum. Now, if you can't get a ticket, or if you are really into learning more about the story, you can also take our Lincoln Assassination Tour. Look at their calendar. There are select dates where we've already booked the tickets for you, and our tour ends at the theater with tickets to go inside. So I knew I would forget something. You don't know this yet, but I mentioned it at the end of the video that I wasn't sure I remembered everything, and now that I'm editing, I realize I didn't. I forgot the National Gallery of Art, a wonderful museum that is free. You don't even need timed tickets. There's the East Gallery and the West Gallery for modern and traditional art, but there's also the sculpture garden outside on the National Mall, which can be visited at any time of day or night. Now there are a number of great museums in Washington, DC that are not free, like the International Spy Museum or Madame Tussauds. But if you look into the tourist discount pass, and we have a link to our blog post all about those in the description, you can get information on how to bundle those together to get entrance pretty heavily discounted, if not get one of them free when you bundle a bunch of them together. Now there are a number of museums in Washington, DC that have ticketed costs to them, but they have free days or community days, like the Phillips Collection, or the National Museum of Women in the Arts, or the National Building Museum. You need a ticket to visit the exhibits, but if you just want to experience the the building itself, which is beautiful, you can go into the building without having a ticket to the exhibits. Like I said, there are so many free museums in DC. We have a whole blog post that lists all of the free museums and those paid museums that have free days. I'll link it below. Another big draw for Washington, DC, and free things to do are our memorials. So I'm here at Iwo Jima, the United States Marine Corps Memorial, but all of our memorials here in Washington, DC are open 24/7. They are free to visit. They do not require tickets. Now, if you do come too late in the evening, like after 10 o'clock, or too early in the morning around 8 or earlier-ish, park rangers won't be there to answer any questions, and the gift shops and the restrooms might not be open. But you can come and pay your respects and visit the memorials at any time of day or night. So there are our main memorials on the National Mall, like Lincoln and World War II and MLK and Thomas Jefferson, but you'll also find new memorials like the Eisenhower Memorial over by the Capitol building, the Iwo Jima Marine Corps Memorial here, Air Force Memorial, Pentagon 9/11 Memorial. There are nearly 200 memorials in Washington, D.C., all free for you to visit. Now, if you want to learn more about these memorials, in addition to our guided walking tours, we also have our self-guided tours and our audio tours. There's a small fee for our audio tours, but our self-guided tours on our website are all free for you to take whenever you'd like. Speaking of our self-guided tours, we have over 20 of them on our website. They cover the main sites like the National Mall and Arlington National Cemetery, but also the neighborhoods like Georgetown, Adams Morgan, Old Town Alexandria. There's no fee to walk down the streets here in Washington, D.C. So you can see the architecture and the statues and the public art that we talk about. And you also get to see a part of D.C. outside the federal core. You get to see where normal people live and eat and hang out. Our waterfront neighborhoods like Navy Yard, The Wharf, Georgetown, Old Town Alexandria have places for you to just sit and enjoy, and wading pools and splash pads for those really hot days. So the federal core is our federal buildings like the Capitol Building, the White House, Supreme Court, Library of Congress. Now you can explore the exterior of the Capitol Building, the Library of Congress, and the Supreme Court with us. But if you want to get into the library or the Capitol Building or the Supreme Court when it opens, it's probably going to require some time tickets for the near future. You can also visit the National Archives, open every day, completely free, but it does require a ticket, which has a $1 processing fee. The National Archives has the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. There are also federal buildings that aren't kind of the main things folks think about, like the Capitol and the White House. You can tour the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, which is where our money is made. There are no free samples at the end, unfortunately. You can tour the Pentagon, you can tour the FBI Buildings Museum. Those are all free to the public when they are open. Now, some of them do require time tickets. Some of them require you going through your congressperson. If you want to tour inside the White House, you're going to have to go through your congressperson in order to get inside. Though you can visit outside at any time, day or night. So if you can't arrange a visit for inside the White House itself, check out the White House Visitor Center. It's a National Park Service site, so it is free to enter and you can go during the day. It shows you exhibits from the White House, replicas. There's a movie narrated by former presidents, and it's a really neat way to learn more about the White House and the presidency without arranging a visit inside. There are so many urban national park sites in Washington, D.C. You can check out the Belmont Paul House and learn all about women's suffrage. You can visit the Old Stone House in Georgetown to learn about pre-colonial Washington, D.C. All our National Park Service sites are open and free to the public, and you can get your stamps for your National Park Pass. Now, if you are worn out of memorials and museums and learning, which you really should never be, there is also a lot of free entertainment here in Washington, D.C. We have outdoor movies in the summer times. Almost every neighborhood in DC has some sort of outdoor movie going on at least once a week. Georgetown, Adams Morgan, The Wharf, the National Mall, the Library of Congress have outdoor movies. Head over to the Kennedy Center. The Reach has arts workshops, live performances of music and theater and symphony and opera and yoga. Millennium Stage at the Kennedy Center, which is sometimes indoors, sometimes outdoors, depending on what is going on in the world, offers free performances at least once a week, if not every night. You'll find that there are a lot of festivals and concerts and pop-up opera trucks that happen around Washington, D.C., especially in the nicer weather. If you head over to Union Market or any of the outdoor parks, you're likely to find some sort of free music happening for you to enjoy. You can also check out some of our military bands. Now, it's not everywhere you get to see the President's Own perform or watch the silent drill team. So you can come here to the Iwo Jima Marine Corps Memorial or the Marine Barracks in Eastern Market, or head over to Fort Myers to watch the Twilight Tattoo, the Sunset Parade, all for free, and they happen once a week in the summer. But you'll also find the Army, the Navy, the Air Force bands perform throughout Washington, D.C. Sometimes at their memorials, sometimes at other concert locations outside here in the city. Their website lists all of their concert calendars, and those are all free to watch as well. Another free thing you can do in Washington, D.C. is to enjoy our outdoor spaces. There's so much green space in Washington, D.C. There are all of our parks and squares and downtown, but if you want to go for a hike, come over here to Teddy Roosevelt Island, metro accessible, just across the river from Georgetown and the Lincoln Memorial. Or head over to Rock Creek Park. You can see some abandoned columns from the old Capitol building. Want to learn more about the flora here? Go to the National Arboretum, where you can also see abandoned columns from the United States Capitol building. Or go over to the Kenilworth Aquatic Gardens. You can also go to the United States Botanical Gardens. Even if the conservatory, the actual building, is closed, the grounds are open. They're just at the base of Capitol Hill, so you can get that famous Instagram shot of the flowers in the foreground and the Capitol Dome in the background. Another program that is running right now, but double check that it will be running when you come to visit if you enjoy the outdoors, you can rent a canoe to go out on the Anacostia River. If you help clean up the river, the canoe is free. So that's a neat way to see Washington, D.C. from the water. And kind of see a different side of the city. Another outdoor thing you can see is to watch our planes. You can head over to Gravelly Point just outside of DCA National Airport. It's right there at the end of the runway, so you can get a really close view of planes taking off and landing, and it's really fun to do with kids. Another kind of unexpected outdoor thing to do in DC and still free is our cemeteries. So of course there's Arlington National Cemetery, which is a must visit here in Washington. You can take our guided tour or audio tour or a self-guided tour. There are no tickets to visit Arlington. It's completely free to enter. But then there's also the more neighborhood rural cemeteries like Oak Hill in Georgetown and Mount Zion Female Union Band in Georgetown. There's Rock Creek Cemetery, there's Congressional Cemetery in Southeast DC. These are all beautiful landscape cemeteries, but you can learn a lot about the history of DC and America in general by the stories of the people who are buried there. Now, if we don't have a self-guided tour on our website of that cemetery, they have one on their website. So that is just a highlight of everything there is free to do here in Washington, DC. There's so much more. I'm sure I've forgotten some. It's really hard to think of all of the free things because there are so many. If you are visiting Washington, D.C. on a budget-friendly trip, I hope we'll see you on one of our Name Your Own Price walking tours. Please like and subscribe to our channel for more tips on visiting D.C. and virtual tours of what you can see when you come to visit. Until next time.